So I'm here with Kubari, who is an old coworker of mine, a great friend. One thing I do want to say is that every time I'm out with this guy or we're discussing something, even when we were at work last year, always super positive, even when negative things are going on. Just super good guy, always seeing straight, super laid back. So I think that this is going to be a good conversation.
All right, man. I really appreciate that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I'm in the business of speaking the truth.
All right.
My guy.
I can appreciate that too.
All right. So, the first question I want to get to that I start off all these with is, what's your experience with suicide, if any, and how has it affected your life? Feel free to tell a story, whatever you want to say.
I've never been directly affected by suicide. By directly, I mean like a close personal family member. But I've had suicides happen around me.
Yeah.
In high school, a kid committed suicide. That was really sad.
Yeah.
But that was it was distant from me.
Like an acquaintance?
What's that?
Like an acquaintance?
An acquaintance. A guy. If he called his name, I would have known who he was.
Right.
But that's about it.
But it was close enough as you were growing up that it was like.
Oh,
it was kind of like your first experience in it, like realizing that it was kind of like a thing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know if I could say this and go back. Every time as a kid when I saw suicide on TV, on movies, that affected me.
Yeah.
You see a guy put a gun in his mouth. There was this movie called No Way Out. Way back in the day, this guy, he didn't have a way out of the situation. The police were coming down on him. So he just put the gun in his mouth and pulled the trigger, and you could see it fly out the back. And as a kid, that affected me.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that was fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Is it something that you like? How do I put this? Like now, having been middle-aged, I guess you could say. Well.
Holy shit!
I mean, like,
what? Oh, okay. Can we cuss?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right. Excuse me.
I like people to just be open and whatever is said.
Well, if I'm going to be open, it's probably going to be some N-bombs. And no, I'll keep the N-bombs. I'll keep the N-bombs at bay. But it's going to be at least be a word or two.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. On my part, I mean.
We might have to edit this out. Okay, I'll keep it clean just in case. I'll keep it clean just
You're good, man. You're good.
No, I can go back and forth.
You're a little older than me.
I am.
So at this point.
Middle-aged is fair. I'll take that.
You're not quite middle. I mean, it depends on how long people live, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I got one foot in the grave over here with this youngin. As good as dead.
Is this something that, like, not necessarily you think about just, like, daily or anything, but is suicide or, like, the things that you've experienced in the past, like, does it ever cross your mind? Like, maybe when a celebrity dies or anything, do you ever think, like, man, that's a little messed up, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, it affected me from an early age, and what was the young guy's name? He was the Joker for the
Heath
Batman.
Ledger.
Heath Ledger. When he committed suicide, and I'm miles away from this situation. So I'm not even a friend of the franchise. Never even saw the movie, but I knew the guy from a couple of other movies. I was like, man.
Yeah.
What a waste.
Great actor.
What a waste.
Father too.
Yeah. Great actor, father, all this. A human being.
Yeah.
A life, a soul.
And that's good enough, right?
Yeah. That's absolutely good enough. So it's a waste. One thing that was told to me about suicide, I remember this distinctly, that it is a long-term solution to a short-term problem.
I've never heard that, but I can.
A long-term solution. It's long-term.
Permanent.
There you go. To what usually amounts in life to short-term problems.
I can agree with that, because especially like when I was going through it, interestingly enough, Kubari here has been around me leading up to my third time. You weren't around the exact time, but it was going there. It was going there for sure. When I knew you last year, and I definitely I can agree with that. Like I said, I've never heard that before, but there are times when I'm like super down, you know, or like when I was super down and I was like, there's no way to escape this. Even that day, distinctly, I remember it was a Saturday. I was on my way to work at my new job, and it happened. Like I could feel it coming, and it was awful. Called someone, calmed me down a little bit. I went home, did a couple. I didn't go to work. I ended up going home, doing a couple of things, and they were like, "Let's go do something." I was like, "Okay." I had a lot of fun that day, man. Like in the morning, it was just like awful.
Yeah.
And in the afternoon, it was like, I'm good. I got a lot of things I got to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
So I definitely understand that point to it. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Having been through a number of situations that I don't want, different things for different people. I've never gotten to that point where I said that. And I thank God that, you know what I'm saying, because I'm very impulsive and I might go all the way through. And so I'm thankful that I've never gotten to that point.
Right.
But I've been in some situations that have been really tough. Really, really life altering and life changing, and just like a kick in the pants and a stomp in the ground. And I can understand somebody being pushed to that point. And particularly, and one thing I believe in nowadays is relationships. I believe in maintaining relationships. I don't think it's good to be alone in life. I think it's like the military aspect of things. Have more than one pair of eyes on you. You know what I'm saying, in life, which is the greatest security I can ever have, is to be able to call on someone. And I think sometimes when people get alone, then maybe those situations come up.
So you, since I've known you, like I said before, you've been really like forward looking. I remember one day specifically, because I'm a big Marvel nerd, so I watched like Luke Cage, and I said to you, always forward always.
Yeah, forward
from
always.
Luke Cage, right? Because you kind of remind me, like anytime I like his mindset, I'm like, man, that's Kubari. Like he's always like right there, looking forward, super good natured. So when you get into those situations where it's like life threw you something and you're like, I don't know if I can do this, what do you do personally that helps you kind of like get on the right track?
One thing I've learned through business is to avoid knee-jerks. Avoid knee-jerk reactions. And certainly in situations when you're weak, when you've been weakened by, whatever it is that ails you, it's easy to make a knee-jerk reaction, you know what I'm saying? So sleeping on things, sleeping on decisions. I don't know what I'm going to do about this right now. I'll decide later, you know what I'm saying? Maybe when I'm a little bit more, clear, So that's one thing I rely on. Don't knee-jerk react to things. Another thing is, again, relationships. That's what I really believe in. I have friends that I call on, that I communicate with. At one point in life, I didn't, and I recognized a difference.
Human are social creatures. We can like get stressed and die from
just being alone.
Social,
man.
Yeah.
I gotta imagine, and I've never been in this situation, but I gotta imagine the worst type of torture is solitary confinement, man. What the oof,
Yeah.
I imagine a person like in that situation probably goes through a lot of, wanting to take their lives. I don't know, but relationships really helped me through those really troublesome times.
My first experience with suicide, relationship is what got me through it.
Good.
Straight up.
Good.
I was right there. I was like ready. You know what I mean? Like I was good to go. And I just was like, I'm not religious. I always say this, but I just got this feeling like something was like, pick up the phone and just text someone. And that's exactly what I did.
Awesome.
And I just threw a text out. I forget what it says. I could probably go back and look. I forget to this day what it said. And I think it said something like, I'm feeling like this and I don't know what to do or something like that.
Yeah.
And my buddy, who was my coworker, and this is a busy dude. Like he ran businesses. He's very social, bartends. He's DJ. He always is doing something
Yeah,
at all times.
I like
His
it.
plans, and usually it's hard to like get him to go out somewhere. He's like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm gonna do it at that time." At this point, he came right to me.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even
Strong.
It wasn't even like he had to get dressed.
Uh-huh.
It was like the time it took him to drive, and he was there.
Uh-huh.
Like he was right there.
Yeah.
And he got me in his car, and this dude literally just drove me around just town for like 2 hours, just talking.
Or.
And not necessarily about the problem, but just like talking,
Yeah.
like we're bros. We work together, we're just chatting it up.
Yeah.
And I always tell him he hates this. He hates when I say this. And I always say, like, you saved my life 100%. I believe that. He does not like that. But I believe it.
Yeah.
And I always will. I always credit him with that.
Yeah. I can appreciate that situation.
Yeah.
And I don't know the guy, but to have that type of compassion, to have that type of, sometimes it takes going through it maybe to know it. And I don't know him, but maybe he's had that experience.
Yeah.
But it's really cool that he can come through for you like that.
Yeah.
Relationship, man, it comes back to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that having people, even family. I mean, I know some people, their families, it can be hit or miss. Like for me, I have trouble speaking to my family about it.
Yeah.
Like I won't, if anything's happened, I'll try not to.
Yeah.
Because you put them through the worry. And I really don't like that. You know what I mean? I hate stressing them out.
Sure, I get that.
And I know they probably want to hear it. You know what I mean? They want to know.
I get it.
But it can be tough.
I get your concern about not wanting to worry them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes you got to let people do their job.
Yeah.
And the people that are supposed to worry about you are those freaks that you grew up with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I call y'all freaks, but I love you. You know what I'm saying? My family.
Yeah.
But those are the people that are supposed to worry about you. Those are the people that were there when you were here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we got to let them do their job, and let them know what's going on. And they're the people that are, you do have friends that come through for you in the clutch. But more than likely, people that go to the mat for you are going to be your folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Friends are friends. But if you need somebody to go to the mat for you, man, I would call them my folks.
Yeah.
And I hope, I know it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah. I'm wondering what you think, like, right now, not to get into politics, of course, but we're dealing with some issues like, let's just say, like gun violence, bullying, the LGBT community. These are like big issues. Like you'll see on the news fairly often.
Yeah.
Do you think that suicide should be right up there? Do you think we should be seriously taking a look at this and saying, let's try to find some sort of solution or way to go where we can start working on this?
Absolutely. Anytime you lose somebody to taking their own life, I think it's a great loss. So it should be an issue that should be at the forefront of what we're talking about. There are a lot of issues that carry a great ton of weight.
Yeah.
And so it's hard sometimes to balance everything. But certainly suicide awareness, especially, and I don't want to say especially, but I think the young community would benefit. People that are coming up, people that are not finding themselves a part of any sort of group. Sometimes growing up, I felt like an alien. I felt like an alien, and I imagine some other people feel that way too. And it can be something that could lead somebody down that route. And I say young people because at that age, you're coming through middle school and high school. Those are the times where you're kind of finding out who you are.
Well, you're correct as far as statistics go. Teens and preteens are hugely at risk.
Yeah, that's a tough age range. You're changing. You might not like what you're changing into. Holy shit. Sorry.
No, I get you. I would love to be doing speaking at schools and stuff. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
In the future, I'd love to be doing things like that because, of course, I went through it, and not that everyone has the same experience, of course, but I feel like I have something to offer people who are going down that road, perhaps, and don't really know how to deal with it. I actually have an interesting thing to bring up that someone said to me the other day, and I want to get your opinion on it because you always give me good insight on things. I was telling someone what I did. I was like, I'm the president of a nonprofit organization. Suicide awareness is what we do. And I told them, like, I feel like, because I'm late 20s at this point, and I always felt like I was trying to find my purpose, and that's always hard for people. And I finally figured out that, like, I want to help people who struggle like I did. And I told them this. I was like, I think that this is what I need to be doing. And they said, that's great, blah, blah, blah. And we talked about it a little bit, and then we kind of, like, I was actually roller skating at the time, so we kind of, like, split off. I went skating a little bit, came back, and, like, they pulled me aside, and they, like, looked me in the eye. It wasn't, like, really threatening, but it was just kind of, like, they were being serious at this point, and they said to me, if you don't go through with this, or if you don't do this, if you believe that you were put here to do this, and you don't, I hold you responsible, right? Like, you're guilty if you don't do it. What do you think about that? Because one of my close friends was like, that's kind of a bad thing to say to someone. But at the same time, I was like, I feel like I needed to hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Purpose. Having a sense of purpose is kind of something that drives us. So, when that kind of gets hazy, or you're having trouble finding it, or maybe sometimes, you look at your life and you say, man, I should have found it by now. You know what I'm saying? I should have found my purpose. I should be working in it by now. And that struggle can lead people to feel sad. I can understand where you're coming from. I can appreciate it. Ultimately, I don't have similar experiences.
Yeah.
But man, I can totally see where you're coming from.
If you had, like, unlimited resources right now, money, I don't know, doctors, whatever. If you had unlimited resources, and suicide now, the problem that it is, what would you do? If someone came to you and said that it's your problem to fix, like, you're the head of it for the world, you're fixing this problem, what is the first thing you would do? Like, would you throw money at, like, nonprofits or hospitals? Would you show more on the news? I mean, what was the first thing that comes to your head that you would say we need to do this to help this problem?
Education. I would make it a part of the curriculum. And it's not the first time you've sort of added something into the curriculum that isn't the 3 R's. I would make suicide awareness a part of your education. Start getting into middle school. That's going to be a part of your health class. Let's talk about it, and hopefully that could be executed well.
Or, like, how to deal with adversity just in general.
Yeah.
Like, how to push through.
Yeah. I think that's education is right where you're hitting right where you're grinding that axe right there. Young people coming up need to understand it at an early age, so that they don't have to seek it later on when they need it. You know what I'm saying? That's my thoughts on it.
I like that, actually. Education.
That's where I would throw the money at.
Yeah.
Education. I believe in it. You never know when you're going to affect somebody's life and say something or do something that years from now they'll be like, you know what, this one crazy dude said something at a gathering at the auditorium.
Crazy dude with the face tattoo.
Yeah, about suicide awareness. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really paying attention, dude. But when he was talking, man, he said this one thing and it hit me. And you know what I'm saying? I can call on it years later. Even if it's just one thing, you know what I'm saying? It
kind of sticks in your subconscious.
Yeah.
And then when that experience hits you, it brings it back and you're right there.
Yeah, so I think that talking to young people, making it a part of the curriculum, and maybe a part of the curriculum that calls for speakers, a lecture series. I don't know.
A previous guy I interviewed in the military, Nick, he said that they actually go through training to be able to spot that in their comrades.
Yeah.
If they're suffering from those symptoms, and how to help them effectively.
Yeah.
So I can see something like that being put out there in education, young people. But I thought about this before, and I think that I wouldn't necessarily have a class on suicide specifically. You know, it would more just be like I said, how to deal with adversity, or how to deal with negative thoughts and emotions as you're going through life.
Sure.
You know, because suicide isn't like, things have to lead there. Like, it's either depression, bullying is huge, losing one's job, family members. I mean, there's a lot of things that go toward that.
Life-altering events.
Yeah, so it's not like, as me and Bert talked about, another person I talked to, we kind of put it like up on if you're looking at it as like a tree or like a graph, like you have suicide in the middle, and that's the central issue. But branching out from that, you have like those life issues, losing a job, death of a family member, failing a relationship, and those things lead to suicide. So it's almost like we can't look at suicide as a problem. We have to look at bullying and how to deal with the death of a family member, how to deal with losing your job, and we need to give people these tools to be able to get through those things specifically. And I think that perhaps these tools aren't given to us in the education system right now.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I've seen the education system up close and personal, and there are a lot of holes in it, and this is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely thought about it after I watched 13 Reasons Why, which is a show that explores suicide and bullying.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it, but I've seen it.
It's good. I liked it. I liked it. And some of the backlash they got was that they're almost glorifying it. Do you think that entertainment leads to people committing suicide? Do you think like do you think glorifying it is like a real problem?
In what way?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
In what way does entertainment glorify?
Because that's what people say. That's what like the people that made 13 Reasons Why got backlash for, is like showing it makes it happen more often, I guess. I never understood it, because for me, like, watching it, because they actually in detail show her committing suicide, and it was hard for me to watch. And I don't know if that's because I went through it or because I'm human. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's going to be hard for anyone to watch.
No, it's not glorifying it, but it's telling the story.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people might not know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they got to tell the story. It's like gangster rap in the 90s. People don't want to hear about shooting and drug dealing.
But that's what was happening.
But that's what's happening.
Right.
Whether you want to hear about it or not, this is what's really going on.
It's reality.
So if I got to glorify it for you to open your eyes,
understand,
then I'm going to glorify it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really have a problem with that at all.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And that's something that I think is kind of what my organization is trying to do, is we're having these conversations and putting them up there with we're not censoring anything.
Yeah.
Because I want people to watch this and watch someone who suffered and hear their story.
Yeah.
And this is reality.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I think people try and brush it off. Like, I know people that kind of like, if they don't acknowledge it, then they don't have to deal with it, I guess, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I think when you see it and you realize, like, you probably go to work and there's someone there that might suffer. I guarantee it. There's someone there, and you don't know. I'm really good at hiding it.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
Yeah.
You know, people don't realize. I went into work last week and I felt awful. I was horrible.
Yeah.
Like, not to that point, but I was suffering some real bad depression for a couple days, and I don't think anyone noticed.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People like me sometimes are afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
Like, they're afraid to ask for help. They're afraid to reach out to people because this problem is kind of stigmatized.
Yeah.
They don't want to say that they're suffering from depression. People are like, well, just get happy. It's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Sweet.
I'm okay, that's what I'm going to do.
Sweet. Damn, I'm glad I got you around.
Yeah, thanks for the input. I'll do that right now, actually.
Dude, grab those bootstraps, pull yourself up.
Yeah, it's
Sweet things.
so it's hard for people like me to kind of reach out and say, I'm suffering from this, and we don't show it on TV. The news when Chester Bennington died, it was like, oh man, lead singer of Linkin Park is dead. Touched millions of people. Great artist. 7 kids. I felt horrible.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, rip. For a week on the social medias, news was talking about it, this happened, and then a week later, it was like it never happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like, on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
What did Trump say today?
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
really? Like, really? It's just people just forget about these things, and like with gun violence, for example, that's been in the light for, we're probably talking 2-3 years, like heavily, a few years. And so people are trying to solve that problem. People are talking, there's discussions, there's legislation, and these things are getting worked on. So I think that, like, I don't know who's guilty for this. I don't know if it's news stations, reporters, journalists. I don't know who's guilty. I don't know if it's us as a whole community in America that's guilty. But we need to put suicide up there as a talking point.
Yeah. One thing that works for this cause and any other cause in today's world is social media.
Yeah.
I remember trying to bust in with my friend James. You know him?
Mm-hmm.
One thing we were told is that the gatekeepers of getting your voice out there are no longer there. Whereas you used to have to go through the news networks, the major networks, to get your voice out there.
Yeah.
If you have some sort of game, you gotta have game. Some sort of social media game. You can get your, what we're doing here right now. Mm-hmm. If somebody possibly clicked on this, man, that's a win right there. If one person,
absolutely,
one person clicks,
absolutely,
on it and hears something and is inspired or gets some information, then that's a win. That's a win right there. Because a lot of times people are in their own zone, and what doesn't normally touch their lives isn't going to be something they're concerned about. The cancer people are cancer people because they're going through cancer, whether it be themselves or a family member. The suicide people, and I don't say that one is better than the other. I probably talking too much, but this is, it's got to be at the forefront. We're doing something right here, I believe, to get that message out. Or at least raise some sort of awareness, because it's a major issue in my opinion.
And the numbers are rising every year. Yeah. It's just like it's going to be to the point where it's like, when are we going to talk about this? When is that conversation going to happen? We're just going to let this go? Yeah. Like, I mean, it's like I said, I don't know whose fault it is. It could be us as a community, and I'm trying to do this and talking to people, and the whole point is to get people from different backgrounds, different walks of life. Because I think that it's an issue where even if you weren't next to someone, you didn't know someone, even if they were like an acquaintance, whatever, they committed suicide, like, you're affected by it in some way or another. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me one person watched the Chester Bennington thing and didn't come out with some sort of emotion about it. Yeah. Whether it be good or bad. Like, I have a friend who was like, well, he was stupid for doing that. Because my friend is big on, like, he has a son, and he sees he needs to be there for his son, and the fact that Chester took his life and he had multiple kids kind of bothered him. But he had a reaction to it. You know what I mean? It affected his life. Yeah. And that's the important thing here. Like, suicide is affecting people's lives, a lot of people. Yeah. But we're not taking it as seriously as we're taking things that aren't necessarily affecting a lot of people, like what the president said in his private life. You know what I mean? It's not affecting me. I don't care. I judge someone on his ability to run a country. Right. Like, whoever the president is, I judge them on their ability to run a country, not what they did in their private life. I don't care. Yeah. Suicide is affecting people. Let's discuss that. Yeah, I get that. Let's talk about that. Guns are affecting people. Like, let's talk about these things.
And I get that 100%.
Just like global warming, It was like big for a while, and it was kind of like, it's no big deal. Now it's like we're in Vegas here. It's like 115 last week. You know what I mean? Like every day.
Yeah, for real.
Like, these are problems we should be discussing. Yeah. And I'm hoping with these conversations with people to show people on social media or anyone that this is affecting a lot of different people from different walks of life.
Yeah, I get that.
Everybody. And even if I save one person, all the money I put into this, all the time, effort, worth it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I used to say the same thing in a different world, in a different life, in a different profession. If I can touch one person, just one.
Yeah.
If I run around and do all this and jump through all these hoops and send all these letters and cards out and scream at the top of my lungs, if I could touch just one person,
worth it.
Worth it.
All the effort.
Worth it.
Yeah. I definitely say like doing this, it's not even like a big thing. You know, we're not big on social media. We kind of just started.
Okay.
It's not totally everywhere. You know, people aren't talking about it. But even like at this point, if something happened to me, like I'd be like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like I did something to try and change the world for the better.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah. Well, I encourage you in it because you never know how things go. Things go viral in a half a second. And,
I don't know about all that.
And who knows for what reason?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some guy said, "What are those?" I wouldn't imagine that he was thinking that, you know what I'm saying, his face would be all over.
Now we got people dancing outside their driver's side cars while it's moving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. You never know, man. You never know. So
I know.
You're shooting a shot, so to speak.
Yeah. No, it's worth it for sure. And I want to continue doing it. Even if if it never does go viral, I'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's the right thing to do.
Sure, absolutely.
You know?
But you never know.
All right. This is what I'm talking about with Mr. Positive over here. Always.
You
no
never
matter
know,
what.
man.
Always.
You swing that bat, even if your eyes are closed, you got a shot at hitting.
I gotta tell this quick story, just so the audience can be aware of the kind of guy I'm dealing with over here. We were outside at a bar, and I was like, I'm really bad at just talking socially to people. And this guy was just like, you just gotta do it. And meanwhile, people are walking in this bar, and he's just like saying what's up to him. I'm super shy, man. I'm introverted. I can't do that. Like a million things go through my head before I can say hi to someone, and we're just standing out there, and you're just like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Nice night.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, I wish I could do that. You're just Mr. Positive all the time.
Well, thank you, man.
You're always enjoying life, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate you appreciating that. I don't know if I am positive to some extent. I gotta thank somebody, and unfortunately, I'm one of those that looks above, man. And I feel like God has been with me, and you know, just that, having that as a type of relationship. You know, I keep a running dialogue with God. In my head, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to preach to anybody or tell you what to do, but that's like a relationship that never goes away. I feel like He's always there, and it brings me great comfort.
I know that in the past, people dealing with suicide, they could turn to religion, and that has helped them through it.
Well, see, here's the thing. I want to back off of, because in my time, I've worked in organized religion. And I feel like organized religion and spirituality are two different things.
Okay. I can agree with that.
And sometimes organized religion is so confusing and so effed up that it causes more trouble than what it's supposed to be a help. But spirituality, that's relationship with God, faith in something, I don't know, whoever you are, wherever you are, we all come from different places. So a relationship with some other type of power, I think is good. I think it's.
I can get down with that. I never looked at. Clearly, I'm completely closed-minded, but I never looked at religion and spirituality as different things. But it's kind of
big time set.
It's kind of always been there, because if you had to label me as anything, because I don't like being labeled as any religious practice at all. I don't even like being labeled as agnostic or atheist. I just don't. But if someone had to put me in something, it would probably be Buddhism. Like I'm hardcore into philosophy, stoicism. Like that's what I follow. I know that anytime I'm going through something, I turn to stoicism. I'm like, what do people like Marcus Aurelius or Seneca or Epictetus do? Like, what did they do? How did they train their mind in order to get through this? And I look at that sort of thing. So I can definitely respect that. Maybe organized religion, not, but spirituality, just believing. Even if you said, I believe in science. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get you.
Like, I'm about that.
Yeah, I get you.
Like, it doesn't matter what it is. I feel like everyone kind of has to have something there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was looking through these drawers because I was going to share with you my what I go to. I got a hymnal around here somewhere. It's an old one.
Yeah.
An old one with some old songs.
Yeah.
That old time gospel type.
Yeah.
But it's what speaks to me.
You gonna sing to us or? I'm just kidding.
But it's what speaks to me though.
Yeah.
It's what soothes my soul. You know what I'm saying? If it's Stoicism, if it's Buddhism, if it's whoever or whatever, and as long as you're not hurting nobody else or hurting yourself, you know what I'm saying? I think that should be one of the things that we turn to, because usually those things are at the core of who we are. You know, I received my understanding about God starting early.
Yeah.
So that's built into the boy that is now the man. You know what I'm saying? And so calling on that is central. It speaks to me. If Stoicism is that for you, or again for whoever else, whatever their thing is, because nowadays I'm just about people, doing what works for them.
Yeah.
What works for me doesn't work.
I'm just about people.
The people.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Relationships and just people.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's something, like going back to the education thing, that maybe we should be teaching. Maybe we shouldn't necessarily even bring up suicide. Like, it's a problem, and maybe it's good to teach it separate from this, but maybe we should be teaching, helping people find their thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everyone's thing is different.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, education, don't get me wrong, I think education is good. I think learning about things are good, but I think the education system, and I've heard this from someone before on different podcasts I listened to, should be focusing on how to help the child, young adult, come into their thing and help early with a career or find what they want to do. You know what I mean?
I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier. In addition to education, I want to go back.
For sure.
One of the things that we should focus on, from my perspective, question asked to me, I think our sports and other types of competitive activities. When you talk about trying to deal with challenges,
overcoming
adversity,
yes,
maybe there's a fly in here.
Oh, I know.
Improvising, overcoming, adapting to situations. You get all of that through sports.
Yeah.
A lot of what I have as far as making adjustments in life and adapting to challenging situations come from sports, where you might get your ass kicked. You know what I'm saying? But there's no reason to stay down. There's a next play, there's a next game, there's a next whatever.
And I think that it's interesting you say sports, because it kind of reminded me of something. And when I was taught in sports, and I played many when I was in middle school, high school, as I'm sure you have.
But even thinking outside the box there, not just sports. I'm talking about, because not everybody is athletically inclined.
Right.
But things also that cause you to be competitive and have to dig something up from down here.
Maybe a math club, like goes competition or something.
Those type of competitions, debate clubs, all that type of stuff, man. I mean, there's more ways to be competitive.
Yeah.
But competition, it drives us to be better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Through competition, people do more than they ever thought they could.
Yeah.
Because they're competing. You know what I'm saying?
They're trying to better themselves.
Yeah.
And like I think it's interesting that you bring that up, because I was taught by one of my coaches in lacrosse a long time ago, and he sat us down out in the grass, and we had like a heart to heart, our team and the coach, and he just kind of talked to us about life in general.
Yeah.
And I just remember never give up, and I think that's always deep down. Even the times where I'm going through suicide, it's something like you're not done here yet.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm a sports guy.
Yeah.
So you got me. One thing that always gets me, especially about professional sports and collegiate sports too, is that as long as there's time on the clock, we're gonna try to win this. You know what I'm saying?
Vegas.
And so sometimes you'll get to, and I'm outside the betting world. Just specifically on competition. People throw Hail Marys.
Yeah.
Because they believe that there's 0.3 seconds on this clock, man. We got a chance. You know what I'm saying? So that type of experience in life, when you go through it, gives you, that sort of ability to get back up when things go wrong later on.
Vegas Golden Knights pulled Fleury in the last 10 seconds of the last game when they were about to lose the Stanley Cup. Because they believed.
They believe, man.
There was still time to win.
We got a shot, man.
Yeah.
How much time is up? Does it say 00? No, then we got a shot, man. Now, once it's double zero, we gotta get our shit and go home.
But I can see this in life, you know. For me, like the first time I had issues with suicide, I think I was 23. It was in 2015, so I was 24, 23, 24ish. And that's the thing. It was like your time's not up yet.
Yeah.
There's still time on the clock.
Yeah.
To make it right.
Absolutely.
Or to do something. And now I'm here, sitting with you, who I never would have met. A great person. And we're talking about this issue and trying to do something about it. And this wouldn't have happened if I would have given up then.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm really glad you didn't give up.
Me too. I've met some super great people.
Yeah. But not only that, I mean, you got a ton of potential in you.
Yeah.
You got a ton of potential in you.
Maybe that's what we should be teaching too. Aren't you going into teaching?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be teaching my kids.
Just about, man. Whoever else they send my way. I'm an equal opportunity educator. I mold young minds. I think my strength is and will always be that. And I kind of see what you're going through, but I also kind of have a way of sharing with you, you know, a better way, because so many times when we're young, we don't make the best decisions. You know what I'm saying?
You've been a great teacher to me the time I've known you.
Cool.
Just being friends. So I definitely think, and you could take some things from this conversation and throw it in your curriculum.
Yeah, man.
Help kids find what they want to do.
Absolutely.
Find their purpose.
Absolutely.
You know. All right. So before we end this, there's always a question that I want to ask.
Okay.
Not necessarily a question, more like a statement. Right now, there's not a ton of people that'll be watching this, most likely, because they're not like huge. But
when we do get those clicks, subscribe and then run over to my channel at KBZari1 YouTube after this. After you watch the whole series.
No shame.
No shame. I have to drop a plug, man.
Future teachers. Support the future of teaching over here.
Follow me on Instagram too. K.676. I'm sorry, go ahead.
For in the future, or anyone watching this, if for some reason it got on the national news and millions of people were watching it, if you could say like one thing, or just anything from your heart, from your knowledge in all of your years, to someone watching this, not necessarily to help them, but just something you would want human beings to know. It doesn't have to be about this issue. It could just be anything. Advice, or you could talk directly to possibly suicide survivors or people who might be considering, or people going through depression, or anyone like that. If you could say one thing and it reached those people, what would it be?
Relationships, and that's multi-layered. Talking about your whatever spiritual relationship you need to maintain for balance in life. Familial relationships. I know those are not always perfect for everyone, but if there's somebody, an aunt, an uncle, a long distance nephew, cousin, or something, maintaining those relationships are a good move in life, as well as keeping close friends close. And then I just got to circle back to it. The relationship that includes your higher power. Connect with that higher power. Sometimes we get at odds with that higher power, which throws things out of balance. And if we have that relationship right, that can be really comforting, especially in those times where we seem to be alone. And in these days, man, you can be alone. It's not hard to feel alone. Everywhere you go, people are in their phone. So you can like literally be in a place that's crowded,
a bar,
but still be like communicating and talking and relating to no one. And sometimes all the communication we do is electronic. So that takes the human, sitting here next to somebody, having a conversation, maybe even having a meal. You know what I'm saying? Those things still kind of beat the core of who we are, man. Thank you, Mom, for making me sit down and eat and maintaining relationships. Please do that. It's easy to fall out with people and say, I'm never going to see you again. But that's a bad move. That's a bad call. Reconnect. And there's no reason why you can't. It's a click, right? And that's all. That's what I have to say.
Connect with people. Kubari, thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
All right.